Greetings to another upload entitled The Curious Case of Andrea Barnes. I'm Nee B, so relax and get comfortable. Let's begin this curious caper. If you try and search for her, it's very hard to find much information about her life and adventures, which are very mysterious to say the least, people, because Andrea Barnes was, in all fairness, a real Earth explorer. She was an adventurer and a major flat Earth believer. She had the entire plain Earth listening to her and very much interested in her adventures to Antarctica, so she should be acknowledged for what she was trying to do for us. She was convinced that there was an edge, which is a misconception to the flat Earth, so let's just say she was looking for something that is keeping us domed in. She set out to see it alone, or with some limited crews and very little sponsorship, going distances beyond the so-called South Pole. Now, Miss Andrea Barnes was born in 1898 to an Ontario farming family, but she was very different to most people, as she was always questioning the world around her and always challenging her teachers about the shape of the earth. So, consequently, instead of going into the nursing profession like her friends and family, she wanted to explore the earth, so she became an explorer, and she even started a group that opposed teaching globes in schools. Now, isn't that commendable? How remarkable would that be? I would love to do that for a living. They even demonstrated in a way that they felt was very symbolic, as they strongly believed that the earth was flat. Now, Andrea was a student of the man himself, Dr. Samuel Burley Rowbotham, parallax folks, so it's no wonder why she was convinced the earth was flat, and you would be too if you would only read some of his teachings and his experiments, which I have done and loved, and you can even get his books free online too, if you only research. But she knew the only way people would listen to her was if she had proof, solid proof. So her first trip to Antarctica was at 16 years old. Wow, 16 years old. But this was cut short because of the lack of resources and obviously the harsh climate that Antarctica has to offer. Now, Andrea then knew she needed to fund a much bigger expedition to one that would have all the necessary requirements needed for the conditions of Antarctica. But unfortunately, the Earth went to war for the very first time, so it became more important to worry about maintaining one's stake in the world than arguing over its shape. But in 1938, she did manage to get the funding needed for the second mission. She had the financial backing, a plane, and a few crew members to make a legitimate go of it. But yet again, the elements were against her. As a freak spring blizzard hit, they could not even leave the base camp. So, the entire exploration, or the entire expedition, was nearly completely destroyed, forcing them to go home with no evidence. And then, 2 decades later, 23 years later, in 1961, Andrea decided it was time. At 63 years of age, it was time to prove it once and for all. But she would have to go it alone, and sadly for her, this time she did not return. This was the last anybody ever heard or saw of her again. Until recently. There has been a discovery. So keep listening. Tap that subscribe if you're new to the channel as well, folks. Now, many people today would probably end up like Andrea, or worse, if we were trying to explore the Earth's boundaries, just like Captain Jarl and Ahoy or explorer Henry Worsley have found out in recent times. That's why, folks, it's a lot safer being a keyboard explorer of the perimeter. We have few but excellent sources to see Antarctica as a rim and not as an island on its own. And remember also, people, that very year, 1961, the international powers signed the old Arctic Treaty and set in place a committee, so it is now 100% impossible for us to go there without absolute permission from the so-called global powers, or we should call them the plane powers. Now, Andrea had tried for many years to convince the world is not a globe and it is flat by going on these expeditions, and you can see the archival footage, including the final and very sadly fatal expedition of Andrea, but she did, as far as we know, finally reach what she was looking for via her snowmobile. Now, how do we know that she found it? Well, folks, the curious fact is our researcher, who was stationed there studying weather patterns, found our snowmobile partially buried within a snowbank, no fuel in the tank, and certainly no signs of Andrea. But what he found was a camera and a note, and this was her Eureka note. And as it reads, people, "I've been there. The debate finally comes to an end. Signed, Andrea B." The note had survived the elements for more than 30 years, because the truth will last forever, people. But unfortunately, the explorer opened the camera, exposing the film, so the pictures were lost to us forever. Or were they? I mean, imagine if they actually did survive. What would be in those pictures would not be allowed to see the light of day, that's for sure. They would be in a secure vault with a label, "Not for the public eyes." The whole thing, still today, people, is shrouded in complete mystery. What did Andrea really find all those years ago? And why is she and her adventures not mentioned much anywhere in the histories? I guess we can never really know. Or one day we will all know the truth about this plain earth that we live on and start sorting ourselves out. Thanks for watching. As always, love the sub and knots if you're new. Peace and luck to you, and I will see and speak to you on the next upload. Thanks for watching.